Hello YouTube, I'm JT the Green Engineer, and I wanted to do a quick video and kind of give you an update as far as what kinds of things I'm facing at this point, and where I'm going with the box truck project. Right here is the box truck, and then one of the first things that I need to address is the exterior door here, the side door. You'll notice that this has a lock on it, and it's a bar lock that actually goes, it operates from this handle, but this bar goes almost the entire distance of the door, and it's got this lip that comes out, and basically when you close it, it locks against the lip on the door jamb. Okay, so here, let me go ahead and pull the lock off for you here real quick, and I'll kind of show you how this operates. This is good in that, you know, it locks with this padlock here, which is great from the outside, but the problem that I'm facing is that I cannot operate this from the inside. So let me go ahead and show you how this works. Flip this up, that lifts, and it opens. You'll see this rotate, opens, and it actually pushes the door out a little bit, and then you can actually pull this, and then the door opens up. Well, on this side of it, and you're probably not, I know I'm out of frame, so I'm gonna have to set up another shot for you, but I'll show you the inside of the door now that it's open, and then you can see, I guess a little bit better what the issue is. Okay, real quick, you see this is the inside of the door. See that's the actual door now that's open, but this is all we really have on the inside of the door. You'll see there's no other way to operate this, and essentially this little bar on the inside just penetrates through the door to the opposite side, and there's just a bolt on the back side of where this latches in. So it really doesn't do anything as it is right now to help. So what I have to do is I have to create a way, or a way to operate this door both from the outside and the inside. And I've got a couple ideas. I think I might use an RV door latch. I say I think because I've already purchased it. I just have to modify it. I have to modify the bejesus out of pretty much everything that we're going to be doing here, because like I said, these were not made for 4-inch thick doors, which this box truck has 4 inches of insulation, so it's very, very thick. Let me go ahead and cut the shot here, and I'll show you what we've got on the inside, on as far as the hardware, and kind of show you what it is what the plan is. Okay, let me go ahead and show this to you. This is the deadbolt, or the latch. I'll try to put this in focus here. This is the actual latch, and as you can see, when I operate, the lever, that pulls the wedge in and out. Now if I flip this over and operate it from the back, you can actually see how the mechanism works a little bit better. This right here is you can see when I pull on that, it operates the ledge. Well, when I pull on the lever, you see how it moves it in and out. Now I'm going to try to pull this in and leave it sucked in here. Try to rotate this in a way that you can see it. But if you look right inside there, you'll actually see that there's a little lever that moves back and forth. Okay, and it moves this block here, which is of course attached. It's the same. This block is the wedge block. Okay, let me show you the inside so you can actually see how this fits together. This is the inside latch. Okay, the lock, you can see the little lock thing. This operates the deadbolt, but if I flip this around, you can actually see, well, let's see, go like this. Let's see, maybe like that. You can see that as I operate the latch, there's this little 90-degree, wedge, I guess you'd call it, or extension that moves back and forth. Well, as you can see clearly, maybe like this. Yeah, try to get that. So I'm sorry, my viewfinder's upside down, so I'm having a hard time getting oriented. Okay, so as you can see, when I move that, it just moves the little latch here, or the little wedge here, backward and forward, and it's set at 90 degrees. Okay, so what that does essentially, see if I can slap this together for you. Try to line this back up. See the little cylinder bit here with the flat end actually fits inside the little latch for the deadbolt. But okay, now I don't know if you can kind of see that, how the little wedge piece is actually going into the little hole right here. Okay, and when we put that in and we operate it, you know, it's moving just like the other side. It's moving this in and out. Okay, so here's the problem essentially. When this is put together, it's great, but you see the distance here is maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, something like that. So not really, you know, going to work as it is for the door, given the door is 4 inches thick. So what I'm going to end up having to do is put it out, you know, about so far in order to get it to work, which means this is going to need to be extended, and we're going to have to figure out a way to still operate this at a wider distance. This portion right here actually sticks out further, and then it steps down, and then this one is further in, and then it steps down again, and then this is the interior portion that's stair-stepped a little bit further in yet. So as I put the latch on, it's going to have to come out far enough so that the wedge can actually hit the door jamb. Okay, so let me show you the door jamb real quick. This right here is what we're talking about. Okay, all I'm essentially going to have to do is basically just cut a hole, you know, in here for the wedge to fit in. Now whereabouts that's going to end up having to be is, you know, a little difficult. Now this white piece, I guess, does have kind of an angle to it, so while this piece is flush, the next piece here, I guess, does have kind of a stair step to it, and I can't even really tell what's behind this. This is a very hard plastic. It's not like the weather stripping that's very flexible and whatnot. This is hard plastic, so I may end up having, like I said, to cut a piece. I might actually have to get into this a little bit in order to make this work. All right, so what I've done is I've gone through it. I've marked out after taking a lot of measurements and double checking those measurements about 150,000 times. Now I guess all that's left to do is cross my fingers and start cutting. But what I did is I measured all the dimensions on this this RV latch to try to get an idea of where it's got to be. And apparently there's a recess on the back side, and that's what needs to be cut out, which I have actually marked here. So we should be looking at something like that. Make sure you put on your safety glasses when you're going to do stuff like this. Professional, or personal protective equipment. Your PPE is very important. As somebody who's been, I've worked in factories and maintenance and engineering for a very long time, and I've seen some really bad accidents when you're using, especially power tools and stuff like that. Always take your safety seriously. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I've got it marked out, and let's go ahead and start cutting, I guess. Okay guys, so after a fairly arduous task and an angle grinder later, I actually switched out to the angle grinder for depth. What I kind of found out is this sheeting on the outside, underneath it, it looks like it's more or less solid aluminum. Not solid, but a fairly thick aluminum plate. All that's left now, so it made it kind of difficult to actually get through as far as depth, so I broke out the angle grinder with a cutting wheel on it, and basically got the depth, and then I went back to my multi-tool to cut out the corners, which this isn't real pretty, but that's okay. If we have to, the nice thing is there's going to be an overhang on the lip anyway that will cover most of this. It should come up clear to the edge of this black weather stripping here. So all that's left is to pull this plate out. I'm not sure how well this is going to work because there was a rivet there. I had to cut the head of the rivet off, but let's see if we're through. It looks like we're through, and there we go. So it looks like the next step is to measure down to see how far down I need to make my cut and start cutting in this direction. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've got it kind of fit in here right now, which is basically I just got the hole cut out But the important thing is that the wedge is actually compressing the way it should be up against the door, or the door jamb when this is shut. That tells me I'm in the right ballpark. Okay, this is definitely a tedious process. It's going to be a lot of wiggling around and adjusting, you know, to make sure that everything is aligned and fit right. And make no mistake, you know, I was very surprised at how difficult it was to actually cut this opening out through this door. It was more difficult than I thought it would be, actually. Didn't expect, like I said, there was a good thick chunk of aluminum right behind this, and the stair-stepped portion was difficult to even get to because of this bar that's in the way that I couldn't, you know, this locking bar I couldn't even take off. I was too afraid of stripping these rusted bolts out and not being able to put it back in. It's not real pretty. I cut the size over, I cut the hole oversized, and I did that so that I would have enough room to wiggle around. My plan has always been to put a faceplate kind of around that anyway, because I'm going to have to make it flush. What you can't see is this little lip right here actually sticks up about 1.5 mils, maybe 2 millimeters. So with that, I'm going to have to do something anyway to make it flush. So I had planned on putting some kind of a plate on there anyhow. As you can see, let me go ahead and pull this out. There's the hole that I had to cut. And hopefully from this angle, let me have a look at the viewfinder here. Hopefully at this angle, you can actually kind of see the stair step that I was talking about through here, which is, like I said, made it kind of difficult. And you can actually see that there's several pieces of aluminum that goes through there. It's not near as thick as the piece that was on the outside, toward the outside of the door that I had to cut through earlier, but it's still, you know, made it a little bit difficult. That particular location, because of the way it is and this great big bar that's in the way, made it a little bit difficult to get a cutting tool in there. You can see that even, you know, just trying to cut that out and getting the proper depth, I ended up cutting into other portions of the door, which I will end up having to repair later on, which is okay. You know, a little putty will take care of that. Silicone will handle the sealing. You know, I'm not too much worried about that part of it. Again, aesthetics, we can fix the aesthetics later on as necessary. The most important thing is functionality. But as I set this in here, one thing about this also, and I'll try to hold this up here because I know that this part is at least in focus. Up here, you can actually see that, you know, I've got this protrusion that is sticking out, and there's only so much room in between here. So that was one of the measurements that I had to take in order to fit that in there. And it does fit in there quite nicely. And it fits up fairly snug, I mean, where it needs to be, I think. Like as I showed you a little bit ago in the last shot, it did actually sit in the door pretty well, and the door, the wedge retracted the way it was supposed to. So I think I've got my depth right. I think the measurements are pretty good. Now it's just a matter of doing the rest of it, and of course the other side is going to mate over here. The only concern that I really have at this point is how far back the latch mechanism is, because it's actually really close to this edge here. So again, I may have to do something a bit more creative as far as how to operate that.